DC, Daniel Cormier. Is he one of the greatest of all time? Is he the GOAT greatest of all time? He's definitely up there. He has defended the light heavy and heavyweight belt. He's the only man to ever do that. But the problem with calling him the greatest ever, the GOAT, greatest of all time, the problem with that is he has those 2 losses against John Jones. Now, I know one of the losses, John Jones was on drugs, on steroids, on PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs. USADA busted him for that. But that high kick that Daniel Cormier took from John Jones, it's on YouTube. Everyone knows about it. It was a really, really nasty kick that knocked him out. And the technique to do that, you don't need steroids. Like, steroids give you muscle strength, but it's hard to argue it gives you technique and skill. All the steroids in the world aren't going to give you skill and technique. If steroids really gave you technique, skill, and made you a better fighter, then the world's strongest man and power lifters and all these bodybuilders would be great MMA fighters. But it takes more than muscle and brute strength to be a good MMA fighter. And so even though John Jones was on steroids when they fought, it's hard to take away the credit that John Jones deserves for giving that tremendous tactical, skillful high kick that knocked out DC. So DC is, of course, going to be up there when it comes to who is the greatest of all time. But that loss against John Jones and the fact that John Jones is in the same era as DC is really going to hurt the DC legacy. Someone has to say it. So that loss to John Jones, unless he can avenge it, it's really going to hurt the legacy of DC. So now DC wants to go on and fight Brock Lesnar, which I don't even understand why Brock Lesnar is still making noise. I mean, he's a lot older now. He's been out of the sport. It's just not fair to call out Brock Lesnar and to think that that is going to be one of the greatest fights of all time. I think Derek Lewis could beat Brock Lesnar. So I don't really understand what the whole point is of calling out Brock Lesnar. It's a money thing. Of course I know what it is. It's a money thing because Brock Lesnar comes from the WWE. He has a big name. That's my little boy in the background. But anyways, so is DC the greatest of all time? It's hard to say he is because he's in the era of John Jones. But it depends who you talk to, because people who are purists and people who truly understand that steroids have no place in MMA, then they will take John Jones out of the equation. But if you just talk to the general sports fan, the random dude walking down the street who watches UFC for knockouts, he's going to say John Jones is the greatest. Personally, I think DC is a beast. But even I can't say if he's the greatest of all time because of the whole John Jones conflict. So hopefully they can fight for a 3rd time. All right. This is your MMA news. If you haven't done so already, subscribe.